Hey everybody, welcome to the Shifty Sports Network. Let's just go ahead and get this over here with which we're going to be going over the different lines that I see in the NCAA as well as the NBA. Um, and unfortunately, I'm not seeing too much. Of course, I wasn't gonna do anything, tell you guys anything for or yesterday or the day before. I mean, not really much on which to look. But when I start looking around, I can find stuff that would be reasonable on which to bet. Like right now, I'm looking through Bovada since I know a lot of people use that because of the number of different lines that they get, and plus I'll probably just withdraw my money out of Bet Phoenix. This is ridiculous. I can't do player props and all that. Um, Realistically, I don't see anything for Friday. I don't see anything. UConn's always toss up a flip of a coin. They're so unpredictable that I don't even know if I could go over under 45. The 10.5 is kind of iffy. So Central Michigan, Miami, Ohio. I really haven't paid attention much to Miami, Ohio as much as back when Roethlisberger played. Um, then we have San Jose State, Boise State. Oh dear God. 30-point spread. Well, what about that? That may be something you guys on which would like to look. But when it comes to Saturday, we have an 11:30 game Navy at Notre Dame. Navy is +7, although I don't know why the over under 65, but I guess they expect Navy to run all over Notre Dame. I understand Notre Dame has a losing record this year, but a lot of their games have been closer than people will admit, so. But anyway, our 12 o'clock games, we have a Texas at Texas Tech. Texas is -3 away. Imagine that. And the over under is 82. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about the over under in this scenario. I mean, I could obviously see Texas scoring 40, 50 points on Texas Tech, but I'm not so sure Texas Tech can hold their end of the bargain just because their defense isn't really made to counter the passing game, so they're supposed to be a high tempo offense that basically just keeps the ball. Let's see. That would be an okay game. I probably wouldn't recommend it. I definitely wouldn't recommend Vanderbilt Auburn. Not at all. Wisconsin Northwestern, I don't know about that one. Northwestern's held a lot of close games. And honestly, I think they should be a two-loss team right now. They're obviously they would have lost to Western Michigan, but Western Michigan's not that bad of a team. Honestly, believe that any one of those teams paired against Western Michigan would either go down to the wire or Western Michigan would blow them out. They are much better than people for which give them credit. Louisville Boston College isn't going to be anything. Over under 55. My oh my. The only problem is, can Boston College score at all? Probably, but all right. We have Virginia, Wake Forest. Over under of 45, but the spread is -3 in the favor of Wake Forest. I don't know how I feel about that one. Because honestly, I could just say that it would be under 45, but then again, some of those injuries may be coming back to play. So Maryland at Michigan. Obviously, Michigan is minus, but the number's 31. Don't know how I feel about that one. That one might actually be able to. That might actually be able to beat. Um, Maryland could beat that -30 or +31 spread very easily. Now, am I saying that they're going to? No. I'm saying that they could. They're not that bad of a team, but we know how well Michigan's defense does. So I guess they don't expect it to be like a 28-0. They expect it to be like, otherwise they wouldn't have this over under of 54. So I'm trying to wonder how they expect them to even score. Oh well. I don't see it being a 44-10 game, but oh well. Um, well, technically it would be 43 to, or yeah, 42 to 12 or 43 to 11, but still, which doesn't make any sense. Okay. As I'm looking through here, I notice Florida, Arkansas. Arkansas is +3.5 at home to Florida. The over/under is 47. If I was a, if I was a man, I would probably take that under 47, as I don't see either team really scoring in this game. I mean, Florida alone doesn't allow a lot of points, with the exception of a miraculous comeback for Tennessee, which was stupid, but I told people Tennessee wasn't good. They're just lucky. Um, and I see another one, guys, but I'm not sure if I would suggest taking it. This one is TCU at Baylor, and the spreads are Baylor -8 at home. That one could be iffy, and then the over under. I'm honestly very solid on that over. Very, very solid. Of course, I know a 38-30 game is not really that likely to happen, but I can't understand seeing this though. Um, because when you think about it on paper, I mean, you should expect probably like a 49-35. So I understand. Oklahoma State, Kansas State. They got Kansas State -3. Not sure how I feel about that one. I'd probably take Oklahoma State +3. Like, I really don't see Kansas State winning that game. And there's no money line for it yet on this site. Virginia Tech at Duke. Virginia Tech -11. Okay, Duke +11. That's a warm bet right now. I really don't. Unless they have a bunch of injuries, I'll have to look that up, and then if they aren't, I'll have to study that matchup a little more. Um, And here's another one. This will probably be a given. Um, Syracuse at Clemson, minus 26.5 for Clemson. But there's a problem with this. The problem is that they're trying to give Syracuse 26.5 points. Clemson is not Louisville. You can give them 14, 17 points, yeah, and then they'll cover by 34. That's fine. But Clemson's not one of those like basically Hail Mary for like 60 yards like every single play. No. So I don't like it. I like Syracuse plus 26.5. I wouldn't put all my money on it though. I'll keep that as just a warm bet. Um, Here's one I really like. BYU at Cincinnati. I like this. There's a spread of 7.5 and over under of 55. I really like that over 55. I love it to death. BYU used to have an amazing defense, and then everybody just went to the draft. So they absolutely have fallen so many times. Oh, sorry, guys. Okay, I found one. Missouri, South Carolina. They've got South Carolina as a -7. I I know it's not South Carolina, but I'd still take Missouri. I still would. That I mean, +7. I mean, I don't expect that game to go even close to 56 points. I don't think South Carolina can even score. That's my problem, is that they have too many injuries. They don't have enough depth. I don't see how they can possibly score. Another one would be Memphis SMU. I see the over 64. I'd take that. I really would, guys. That should be a given. Well, warm slash hot. Not. It's more of a warm. I'm not gonna classify that one as a hot bet. Um, and this is a good night game. Oregon at USC. Obviously, it won't be night where they're at, but um, but anyway, I take USC -17. I know that sounds crazy, but after what I've seen for the last few weeks, they're starting to make a lot of adjustments. Oregon is starting to struggle a lot more on the defensive end. They lost two other players to injury in the last couple weeks on defense. I'm just not too sure. Even after the huge Washington loss, I'm not sure that they can even keep up in the Pac-12. I honestly think that they might not even they might not even go to a bowl game. That's how bad I think it is right now for them. Ooh, here's a good one. This one should be pretty solid, guys. Kansas at West Virginia, -34.5. That ought to be pretty solid. I know that sounds like a joke, but trust me when I say that actually might happen. Because I get where they're going on this note right here. They're expecting 34.5 and over unders 54. They're expecting about a 45 to 9 game, maybe. Well, not 9, but 40s. So yeah, let's just go 40, about 44 to 10. Uh, yeah, that. Well, at least 45 to 10 or something. Yeah, that sounds a little better. Um, 44 is pretty hard to get. Let's see. San Diego State minus 21.5. That's a little iffy itself. Georgia at Kentucky. They've got Kentucky plus 2.5. You might as well take Kentucky plus 2.5, guys. I know Georgia's been struggling way too much. Jacob Eason hasn't been what we thought he would be. And sadly enough, the run game still hasn't been able to trump the rest of the teams in the SEC, making it sort of weak against all the all the opposing defenses, especially against especially now that a couple teams are trying to switch to 4-2-5 packages, which I've told everybody that 4-2-5, in my opinion, is my favorite defense just because it has no strengths or weaknesses. It is a completely neutral defense, and it's all up to a defensive coordinator to be able to pick the correct plays. And that's pretty much how that defense works, is that you have to put all your hope on the defensive coordinator. Um, Here's a really good one, guys. Nebraska at Ohio State. Nebraska plus 16.5. I really like this one. Oh my gosh. People? Oh, well, okay, never mind. Hang on 1 second, guys. I'm going to VegasInsider.com. I'm going to see what it was before. Because we're looking at this Nebraska and Ohio State, and something catches my eye. I want to know why, if that makes sense. Let's see. Okay. Not much. Okay, so it opened at over under 54 and minus 16.5. Okay, I mean, I don't know if people can actually place their money on Ohio State minus 16.5 to a Nebraska team. That's crazy. I don't know if I know if I can have balls to put the money against Nebraska for 16.5 points. I mean, it could happen. It could happen. I think it'll be a 2-score game, though, guys. I really think it will. And not even 16, more like 10. I could see this game being about about a 40 about a 45 to 35. No, not even that. Maybe 30 35-24 probably. I don't think Nebraska or Ohio State will be able to score that many points. Nebraska is able to emphasize pressure with the free safety and defense. I've seen a lot of different robber packages in that last weekend's game. Of course, Ohio State really hasn't done as much. They more rely on their defensive line tactics to win the games for them, get pressure, try to get the quarterback you know, unsituated, kind of uncomfortable, and force them to make bad decisions. Of course, here's another game I like. The only problem I see with this is the spread itself, but Alabama at LSU plus 8.5 LSU. I like it. I do. And the over-under, I could probably go over 45 points. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, but I want to see what Leonard Fournette props that they are in this game. Because I'm thinking about just loading up on Bovada here and just taking off with some of these player props. Here's another one. Washington at Cal. Oh man, over under 77. My question is, how do they expect this game to? Because there's people I'm guessing that's voting for or putting bets on the under. I'll have to check this because I don't understand that one bit. That makes no sense. So the spread was 17, hasn't changed. Over under 77 and a half. It's fluctuated depending on what the sports book is. So I still can't believe people would take the under. I just don't believe it. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I yeah, guys, I could totally see this happening. The over. Washington and Cal, we've got two explosive offenses, regardless who's injured. It's well, except for Jake Browning, of course. Um, we've got two very explosive offenses. Um, a minor defensive set, but we know how good Cal is at um getting some air raid going. Of course, they're not a great team. Their defense just makes way too many mistakes to stay in ball games. So obviously, that the spread I probably wouldn't like as much as the over under. But of course, the spread very well could happen because we've seen what can happen when Washington just starts getting up and running against a bad defense. We look at teams on which they went 4 or 5 unanswered scores. Oregon, they went, I want to say 35-0. It may have been 31. I'm not exactly sure on that, guys. Um, and then, and that was by the halftime. Um, and I think against Utah, they went up by 10. I forget. There's a whole bunch of them. But anyway, those are your college games for Saturday. And of course, I won't forget to do NFL, guys. I'm not even sure how I feel about doing all this, but oh well. Oh man. Okay. Hmm. What time zone is this? Jeez Louise. Okay, I think something's wrong with the time zones. I'm gonna have to go look at the schedule here and see what times they are. Guys, I apologize for that. Okay, yeah, that's crazy. They've got this 2 p.m. I'm in Eastern time, so that's kind of crazy because I don't live out in what's that island off of that's about 200 miles off the coast of the U.S. in the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, I don't live there. It's not it's not going to start at 2 o'clock for me. So I'll just have to make proper adjustments. Let's see. So we got Philly and New York. Giants, of course. So the Eagles, Giants. We got Giants -3, which is probably the favor bet. I'm guessing just because people make bets on what they see rather than what they study. Because there's a lot of people who study the game, and there's some people who just watch the game. And there's a lot of people who just watch the game that lose a lot of money because they don't study, and they could find bad matchups. They could find um, all this different stuff, but they just don't look. Now, of course, I'm looking at this Eagle offense that could very well beat that +3 spread. Um, I actually really like that. Of course, we do have Dallas at Cleveland. Dallas -8. I really like that. I mean, is Cleveland going to do anything this year? Because I really don't see them doing it. So at the moment, of course, I like Philly +3 for the game, but we know Eli's able to just rock and roll his way back into a win. But generally, it's by 1 or 2 points. Generally, when he wins and starts to come back from a deficit, it's usually about. It's just usually they kick a field goal and they win by like 1 or 2 points. So I wouldn't put too much on that. So just in case. But Dallas -8, that should be fairly easy to call. Detroit at Minnesota, I'm not going to even touch that. Um, New York at Miami, that one would be a little too difficult to call. Jacksonville at Kansas City, I'd probably take Kansas City -7.5 in that one. Now we get to our late games. We have Carolina at LA. Um, Carolina's favored by 3 on the road. Um, Not exactly sure how I feel about this one, but I think I would rather take the under 44.5 for the game because I really like that under bet. Obviously good Carolina defense versus very poor execution offensive line for Los Angeles. Um, and obviously not having Michael Oher is going to completely hurt Carolina, given that that was pretty much Cam Newton's golden egg, because that was pretty much the easiest way for him to do anything was having a big old Michael Oher blocking for him. Honestly, I think Michael Oher is their second best player. Um, I absolutely look at this and I love this Indianapolis Green Bay, and the over under is 54, and I like the over 54. I like that. Now, are they capable of getting stops? Of course they are. And a lot of people are choosing. Seems like they're choosing Indianapolis +7.5 with an over 54, which I don't understand because I'm not seeing how Luck can possibly beat Green Bay. I'm just thinking of how. Yeah, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing how they can possibly keep. How are they going to keep that game close? I do not see it. I mean, I see Green Bay going up in about 35 to maybe 21. That's what I'm expecting. Somewhere like 56, 60 points. Obviously, it's going to be pretty close, but then we have this Tennessee San Diego game. I would leave that alone, guys, unless you take San Diego -4. That's all I can say. And then the night game, Denver Oakland. Obviously, I understand the different matchups. I understand a couple key injuries, and I know how all these different packages work at the moment. But I've got to give it to Denver, guys. +1 on the road. I absolutely love um, what they have at the moment. Of course, I can understand someone picking Oakland. I can. Of course, I'm not going to guarantee anything in the NFL just because they're pros and anything can happen in the pros. Okay, so I'm going to the NBA. Let's see what we've got here. And I think all we're going to get is tonight's games, guys. Unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, this is going to suck. So I'll have to go back and look on some of the other ones. So today's Friday. Tonight's games, we've got 7 o'clock Atlanta, Washington, And they've got, oh my God, Atlanta +1. Take that in a heartbeat, guys. Atlanta Hawks at Washington Wizards +1.5 or +1. That's your best bet. We get Charlotte at Brooklyn. I could probably take Charlotte away that one, yeah. Miami at Toronto. I'm not even gonna mess with Toronto because I don't think they'll ever win a championship. They are not they are not good enough. They play in a terrible division where it's easy to get wins. Very easy to get wins. And they will fall so easily to too many teams. Like, for example, I can name 3 teams right now that when they get into a best of 7, there's no way for them to win. That's Cleveland, Atlanta, and Chicago. Right now, there's no way that they have any consistency. They don't have enough synergy to get that done. Of course, we know the Hawks have had amazing synergy in the past, and a pickup of Dwight Howard's not really going to hurt it too much. Um, then we fly to our 8 o'clock games. There's 3 of them. Um, We got Clippers at Grizzlies. That one I'm not even going to touch, although I'd probably go under 197. Um, got Knicks Bulls. I like the Bulls, obviously -7.5. I don't know about the over under 211. That's a little too out of my comfort zone. Um, although the under could very well go, but if New York doesn't score. Phoenix, New Orleans. Um, just given on how hard it is for Anthony Davis to get a team chemistry going, it's been so hard for him, guys. Like, he is single-handedly one of the he's in the top 5 best players in the NBA right now, hands down. He is one of the best, but he has nobody with which to work. I mean, seriously, we can't wait for Buddy Hield to get better and their team be much better. Because trust me when I say Buddy Hield is going to be an NBA legend. He is going to be a superstar. Buddy Hield will. He's that good. But at the moment, they have to give him time to adjust. They got to find maybe a Ford that can help them out a bit, spread the ball out and get some nice easy jumpers. I think that would probably help them in taking pressure off of Anthony Davis because, of course, double teaming guys isn't really going to help, especially when you get 2 guys on him and leave one guy outside to take a 3-pointer and no one on their team shoots over a 40% from the 3-point line. It really hurts. It does. And I understand. Um, San Antonio, Utah. Not see how I'm not too sure about that. That's kind of iffy to me. Because even the Spurs away -5, I think I would take the over 184, but then again, that's 92-92 and then divided any way you want. But the problem is the Jazz scoring. But I could probably take the over just because I believe that there's going to be enough scoring done. Um, in that game. And this one is ridiculous, guys. Golden State -11 to the Lakers. Like, Warriors -11 to the Lakers at Staples Center. And the over-under is 228. Okay. Now this one, everybody seems to be taking under 228, which I can understand. But people, please realize something. Golden State single-handedly will get 120 points against LA. Generally, people are thinking, oh, well, this is going to be a steal. This is going to be an easy call. I'll tell you what, if this does happen, it's because LA's made so many mistakes and incorrect adjustments that they can't score. That's how it happens. Um, but yeah, no, LA should LA should be able to score enough with LA, but or yeah, LA should be able to score enough with the Warriors, regardless of their defensive patterns and alignments. Several key matchups, but in the end, it all just comes down to Nick Young being able to turn into Kobe Bryant, like legitimately turn into Kobe Bryant, and the fact that the team chemistry for Golden State is better than any team in the league. Like, not even joking. The only reason Cleveland won is because LeBron's a freaking legend. He's a beast. Um, but yeah, now, if I were to take the over under in that game, I personally would take the over 228. But my spread minus plus 11, that's way too iffy right there for me because that's right there in my comfort zone of 10. I mean, that's what I think. Like, for example, my comfort zone for that game, like you said, was 10. For San Antonio would be like -7, -8. So, and that's away at Utah. My over under comfort zone's about 190, 194 around that range. So I could probably take the over there. But yeah, no, guys, that's just how I see it. Um, and unfortunately, we have nothing in college basketball, so. Ooh, God bless me. Ooh, yeah, sorry about that, guys. Um, but you know, I mean, everything's looking pretty good right now. When I look into the future NBA, I'll just notate some key matchups and about my comfort zone in each matchup, and then you guys can use that to determine the future matchups for the rest of the week or rest of next week. Saturday, I really won't be watching anything Saturday. I'll be going onto my NBA League Pass and just review the games that I missed. So that's what I do, guys. Um, it's much more convenient for me than having to record all those games onto my DVR. Especially his Xfinity X1, I like it somewhat, but I mean, unless you're making a lot of money doing this, I mean, there's really no reason to have it. So, um, but we have Minnesota at Oklahoma City. I'd probably say somewhere around -8 for Oklahoma City. It should be higher than that though, but that's my comfort zone. Um, and look for a player prop. If it shows Russell Westbrook total points that game, if it shows anything under 30, take it. I would just take it because there's not enough veteran leadership. I don't think there's enough consistency to be able to hold off Russell Westbrook from scoring that many points. Cleveland at Philadelphia. Um, I would say probably Cleveland -14 or 15 would be my comfort zone, even at Philadelphia. That's about my comfort zone. Um, let's see, and I keep going down. Denver at Detroit. I'd probably say I'd probably say anything -3, about right, -3, -4 range for Detroit. I'd probably take that. Um, Houston at Atlanta. I'd probably take the over if it's somewhere around 205, 200 and if it's about 215, 220, stay away from it. That's all I can say. Because that's going to be your point of kickoff right there. Clippers at the Spurs. I'd say if your over under is about 185, probably go over. But if it's anywhere around 205, 210, go under. Which it'll probably be right at 195 or 200. Pretty sure. Um, and then Sunday we have Utah at New York. I like whatever spread they give Utah as long as it's not double digits. I like Portland at Memphis. I like whatever they give Portland um, at Memphis as long as it's not too high. I mean, I highly doubt that they're going to favor Portland at Memphis, but if they do, no higher than like 3. And if Portland is the underdog, I just pick them straight up or give them the spread. Um, we got Sacramento at Toronto. Um, Obviously, Toronto's going to win that game, even though I'm not a fan of what they're doing over there. Probably about -6 is my cutoff point. But if it's about -8, -9, you can go ahead and take it, guys, because that's about what it's going to be. Um, unless something weird happens between now and then. Um, and then we've got a late game, Phoenix, LA, Lakers. Um, I'd probably take the over wherever you can find that. It'd probably be somewhere around 200, 195, 200, just based on what Phoenix does. And we can expect enough points to be scored in that game. Um, Monday, I'll give you my top 2. I'll give you a early game and a late game because seems to be easier for me. I guess the easiest one for me is going to be this Indiana at Charlotte. I would probably go my comfort. I would go under in this game, but my cutoff zone would be about 205. Um, and then for our 10:30 games, I would take New Orleans at Golden State, and as long as the spread's somewhere around, if I'd just take Golden State regardless what it was, unless it was a ridiculous amount. Like for some odd reason they decided, okay, we're gonna go Golden State minus like 20, which they won't do, but if they did, then I would probably stay away from it. But whatever Golden State gets is probably not high enough anyway. Tuesday we got Atlanta at Cleveland. I would take Atlanta, whatever their plus is, because I know they're not going to be favored, but I would take Atlanta um away. I absolutely love that. Um, and let's go with New Orleans, Sacramento. I actually like betting against New Orleans. I know what they have. I'm very familiar with their structure. Um, but at Sacramento in this game, I'm gonna have to go with New Orleans here plus, as long as the plus is not around like 4, less than 4 or 5. I mean, if it's like +6 or more, yeah, I would take New Orleans because I really don't see them giving New Orleans a chance. Um, and then for Wednesday we have Brooklyn at New York. Wow, they have to drive a long way for that matchup. Anyway, um, I I'm kind of on the fence here because you got two fairly pathetic teams, but I mean their defensive alignments are pretty common. Some of the player matchups are almost neutral, um, and then some you have an amazing offensive presence versus amazing defensive in certain player matchups, and then the other way around is just absolutely nothing. Um, so I would probably take New York minus, as long as this, I'm pretty sure New York would probably be like minus a half a point, but I would take it as long as it's not over 3, or if New York's not favored. If Brooklyn's favored to win, just take New York straight up or the spread. I like that one. Um, and then Houston at San Antonio. Um, I'm I personally would take the under. As long as the line's not about 195, I'd probably take that. Houston used to do a really good at scoring the ball, but that was back when Dwight Howard was in the paint. And James Harden pretty much could get 40 points a game because they had a big man that could just put the ball back up and just get the 2 points so often, so proudly. Um, I'd probably take the under in that game as long as it wasn't too low. Because I know your spread's going to be somewhere around like -6 or somewhat. That would be good. And if you're a parlay person, that might be something with which to do. But you guys know my takes on it at the moment. Thursday, um, you'll have Chicago at Miami. I like I like Chicago, even if their spread's going to be like -3, -4. I like that. Um, LA at Sacramento. I would take the team total for LA. Team total. If it's 105 or less, take the over. If it's anywhere close to 110, 111, 112, then I wouldn't touch it. But as far as the spread goes, I really would feel uncomfortable doing that, period. Because I really don't see too much of a consistency with the two teams' ability to post spreads, whether it's a home or away. They really don't have as much consistency, especially in the last like couple years. Even with Kobe Bryant, they really never had that. So, but yeah, that's it, guys. Um, Sorry it took like 47 minutes, but at least you can scan through and see what you guys like. Now, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe so you can get alerts on my hot bets. And of course, guys, like I said, I can't guarantee when any hot bets are coming anymore. I would just stay posted, look every like 15, 15 till, and just see if there's anything posted. Um, Guys, I'm really not sure how long I want to keep this charade up right here because I mean I'm not getting um, enough people who I'm actually helping here. So um, since I'm not helping a lot of people at the moment, I really don't see what the point is with this channel now. If any of you are making pretty subtle amounts of money, let me know because I really want to know whether I'm making a huge difference in a lot of y'all's lives. Um, but anyway, like I said, make sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and make sure to check your inbox regularly for any update videos, or just keep this channel in a separate browser and refresh on like say Saturdays, Sundays, mostly Saturdays, and hope you guys had as much fun as I had, and I'll see you next time on Shifty Sports Network, and good luck betting.